Hello everybody, good evening and welcome back to another live. I know you typically don't see me in the evening time, but we missed the live on Sunday, so I am here during the week to give you a little spiritual boost and get you going through the rest of the week. I am so excited about today's live. I'm just going to light a little candle. Hi Matthew, how are you? I like to have a little candle going with a live, especially in the evening, so let's get that started. So today's live, there's something super important that I want to talk to you about. And I feel a lot of people get this really confused and they don't quite understand this, or they don't quite understand the nuances of this. And I feel that this is important that you understand heading into 2026. So what exactly am I talking about? I am talking about the concept of creation. And I know a lot of people are automatically going to think of, okay, well, we know what that is. We know that, God, universe, spirit created earth, people, human, animals, whatever. And we also know creation, where we think about a woman giving birth. And yes, that is correct, right? Creation can be thought of as a divine act, and creation happens through birth or growth of something. Those are also those are really correct terms. But what I want you to think about is think about it a little bit deeper and think about the concept of creation and how creation is a very natural process, right? How there is flow and balance to it. And when you start thinking about creation like this, I want you to kind of shift into thinking of yourself as a co-creator with universe, with spirit, with God, whatever you want to call it. So what does that really mean, right? That means that your reality is created by consciousness, your reality is created by consciousness or your mind. So that's where I kind of want to pause and I kind of want to talk about this a little bit more. So if you are a co-creator, what does that really look like? And I want to talk about it because I think people are going to get confused, because when they're thinking about creation, they think about something like, I don't know. I don't really know what you guys are thinking about, like how you think about it. But what I'm talking about is the divine will give you inspiration for your creation. The divine will give you the business idea. The divine will give you the talents and the gifts. The divine will give you the blueprint, the business plan, the money, the clients, the inspiration, the content. Everything will be provided to you. And that's where I want to really dive into this. So coming to 2026, you're really going to have to think about what it is that you're creating in your life. A lot of you just go through life and you don't have any idea of what it is you're actually manifesting and creating in your life. And then you look back and you think, oh my God, what have I done? Who have I been with? What legacy have I left for my children? And you have no actualization or realization or awareness of what it is that you're actually creating. So you really need to think about this. And I have a little notes jot down. Okay. So let me just go through this. When you're thinking about creation, you want to be very intentional about it, and you want to look at the perception that you have in your mind about what it is you're creating. You also want your creation that you're thinking about to be meaningful and not random. So, and the creation also should reflect a deeper truth. And this is why I'm saying that you're called a co-creator and that the divine is working with you, because it's not all done by yourself. It's with the divine. Like I said, they will give you the ideas. They will give you the inspiration. And I kind of want to talk about it from my experience. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat. I'll be happy to answer that. So from my experience with my businesses, I really didn't have to do anything. The divine gave me the business idea. And from then, every action I did or did not take was directed by the divine. Every content that I post is directed by the divine. And people are going to be like, well, what do you mean by that? So what I mean is that they tell you when to act. They will tell you what steps to do next. They will tell you what offers to release, what services to release. They will tell you when. They will tell you when to post. Will it be a clear message? Yes, sometimes it's a clear message. Other times it's very much intuitive. My businesses are very much an intuitive-led business, meaning I don't sit there. And I remember when I started my business, a lot of people were like, don't you have a business plan? Like, where's your business plan? And it doesn't necessarily work like that. Like, sometimes God is your business plan, period. Like, that is it, right? And you don't need to do anything at all. So you just need to tune in and listen to the direction that's being given to you. That's another problem a lot of you guys have, is that you don't listen to the direction that's given to you by the divine, right? You do something else. You think very logically, or you think very analytically when it comes to your business or your plans for your life. And you think that you have to take certain actions in the 3D, where, like I said before, when you think about creation and like being through birth or growth or divine act, it's very natural process. It's very flowing. It's very balanced, right? So it's the same thing with your life and your business. It will happen very naturally for you. And that's exactly what I'm talking about, where I'm saying that my business is spirit-led. And if you start to listen correctly, you will understand how the divine is directing you and corresponding with you to move forward in your business and your life. The problem is that a lot of you are not listening correctly and you're not taking the direction, right? So again, you really need to set the intention and listen to and figure out the perception that you're having. And you really, you really need to think about the deeper truth that's being revealed to you, right? So when I say that, it's like where I'm telling you guys, okay, the content that I'm posting or the ideas or the services or the next actions that I take, all of it is spirit-led. It's a very spirit-led way of operating when you're working or co-creating with the divine. The creation reflects a deeper truth that is revealed to you. It's not something that you're coming up with out of your mind. It's all being given to you and handed to you. It's your decision whether or not you want to act on it. That's why I say it's meaningful and it's not random, right? Because all of this is purposely designed for you. So there is no hustle. There is no like hard work. There's no really like stagnation. And I know a lot of people will be like, well, my business is stagnant. And even I have thought that at times. But when it comes down to it, I'll give you an example. For example, my sister said something to me this week, and she was saying how this person had started their business after you and they've gotten a lot more followers than you, or they've gotten more business than you. And I said, well, their business model is not set up where it is spirit-led. It's a very different business model. And if you go into their business and analyze it, which I did, it's a very different, it's a very 3D based business, right? You can have a lot of followers, but there may not be the right type of followers. You could have the right people in your audience, but they're not buying. So there's a difference, right? And it's a different type of business model. So again, it may seem that things are stagnant, but the divine will act and tell you when to act when it's your turn. That is the key thing. You have to wait your turn. You have to wait until you are ready, until you get the signal from the divine. In the meantime, what do? You keep doing the work, you keep building up your business, and you keep doing the acts that you think are in alignment with what you're being directed to do. And this doesn't only apply to business. This also applies to everything else in your life. So you really need to listen and take direction well, and to take the action when you're being guided to take the action. Does that make sense to you guys? Let me know if you have any questions. Okay, so that's briefly what I want to say about this concept of co-creation. I don't want to say too much about it because there's a lot of nuances and intricacies about it, and I think a lot of people are going to get confused, but you need to get the basic understanding about it if you want to succeed in 2026 and if you want to continue to do well and accelerate your life. The next thing I want to talk about is briefly let's say you are doing all of these things and you are co-creating with the divine. I'm just looking at my notes here. How do you, and I often hear people say this, how do you make whatever it is that you're co-creating with the divine into a reality in your 3D? This is the answer. Repetition makes reality solid. So what does that mean? Let me repeat it for you, okay? Take notes. Repetition makes reality solid. So your repeated thoughts, your choices, and your emotions start to create patterns, right? So your habits start to shape your identity shapes your behavior shapes your outcomes. This is how co-creation gradually crystallizes into lived reality. These are the things that you need to keep doing, right? You need to keep repeating the actions. So when the divine tells you to post your content, post your content. Keep posting your content. When the divine tells you, you know what, now it's time to create a website, then you create a website. When the divine tells you now it's time to, sell an offer, then you sell an offer. So, but in the meantime, you're doing these little things, these little repetition, these little acts that are building momentum, building your habits, building your behaviors, building your outcomes that are going to help it solidify in the 3D, okay? So this is how the co-creation, this is how the energetic and the co-creation work that you did in the first half of this live that I was talking to you is going to appear in your physical reality. Okay, and it will happen it takes time, okay? I'm not gonna lie. It's taken me like a little bit of time, but you will get the signal. You will get the signal from the divine when it's time to go to another level. Everything that the divine is preparing you for. So let's say you're feeling some stagnation. Let's say you have a loss of business income. All of this is preparing you for something greater. It's teaching you how to navigate for when the time and the iron strikes and it is your time to shine. It is preparing you for something else. There is lessons the divine is going to reveal to you within these stages of your business or within these stages of co-creation. There are certain things, right? And like I said, it's very important that you learn how to take direction. And let me see if I can talk about this a little bit more. So for taking direction, well, it goes back to everything I've said in almost every other live, is that your consciousness has to be at a higher level in order to even communicate with the divine. So therefore, you need to go back and do the work, right? It always comes back down to that. If you can't even talk or hear the divine, then you have a problem, and then you're going to have a problem in your spirit-led business. Okay? So again, you really need to try to figure this out and try to understand and build on that relationship in order to co-create and in order to have that manifest and solidify in your 3D reality. It all is a very concise and well-organized ecosystem that works together. That's a lot, okay? But that's the name of the game. This is how it runs. This is how it operates. If you cannot figure this out in 2026, you're going to be in a problem. You're going to be in a situation, okay? The divine is not here to play. They are ready and they are waiting for you. So it's like you have to make a choice of like, how are you going to move in the new year? Are you still going to be doing the same things? Are you still going to be stuck? Or are you going to take the action that you need to do to get you to move forward? Okay, and I want to talk a little bit about this, like where I said the divine gives you the content, the business plan, the ideas. It's all true. It does, okay? It comes to you in your mind's eye. It comes to you in visions. A lot of it is very, very intuitive. So a lot of it is feeling based. A lot of it is intuitive knowledge and downloads and insights. And you, like... it's very, really, like, it's interesting. Like, somebody should study this, and I don't want to because I think it'll be really time consuming, but it's interesting the way that it works, because it will feel very unnatural for you, right? It will feel like these are not the steps I should be taking. I should be moving faster. I should be seeing these types of results. It feels, so that's why I'm saying it feels very unnatural for you, because initially, you will be thinking as a human and very 3D based, where you will think that this is the next step I need to do, this is what I need to take, and the divine will have you doing something completely different, something else that you never even thought of, okay? So that's why I say that it feels unnatural, because it's not something you will be inclined to do. And you really need to trust the intuitive process here and what you're getting from the divine. Okay, does that make sense to you guys? Let me know if you have any questions. If you're watching the replay, make sure you leave a comment, or if you have any questions, feel free to leave it there and I'll answer it then. But again, everything will be given to you. Everything will be handed to you. You don't have to worry about anything. And I know that a lot of people will feel a lot of restriction or hesitation or stagnation when it comes to their businesses or whatever they're trying to create in their lives, because they're not seeing the outcomes that they want to see fast enough. So again, you need to dial it back a little bit and wait for the divine to step in and lead you. Does that make sense to you guys? That is all I wanted to talk about in today's live. I could go on about this, but I am not going to, because it is going to take a very long time. But I just wanted to prep you and give you a little bit to think about for the new year. If you have any questions, again, feel free to leave it in the comment box. You could book your high vibrational energy reading. Now is the perfect time. We have the full moon coming up on the 4th of this month. High vibe energy. Just DM me or click the link in bio. Join our free Sovereign Circle broadcast channel. The link's in the bio. You can also join our email list. The link is in the bio. I am on X, TikTok, YouTube, and of course Instagram, and we are live every Sunday at 2 p.m. Bye.